Hey there, and welcome back to the Being Easy podcast, episode 2. Today is January 10th, 2018. I'm Lindsey Beasley. Hi. I'm your host for today, and every day for that matter. Ha. And today we are going to talk about a lot of stuff. I've gotten a lot done in the last week or so. Since last time I podcast on the 26th of December, whole new month. And I hope to share a lot of that with you. So, here we go. Moving right along into whips and hose. I decided to combine this because in my book, hose aren't really at all finished. They're just half. I know. It sounds silly, but to me, it's not done until it's done. So, we're going to combine it. Whips and hose. Whips and hose. Section name. First of all is the Daydreamer shawl, which I did get a lot of work done on. If I can get it out from underneath this massive pile of stuff I need to show you today. So, this is my Daydreamer shawl. Let me get the pattern, which kind of got smushed. Oops. Here is a picture of it. That's the Daydreamer shawl by Annie Hass of This Bird Knits Designs. And this is what I've got so far. I was here. I moved the marker for you guys. And that marker is a Corner of Craft Rainbow Sheep. She's really amazing. You can find her on Etsy just searching Corner of Craft. And this is what I've got so far. The yarn is Homespun Girls in Tidal Pool. And it is a DK weight. And it is 100% wool, so it's a little scratchy. But I don't mind that. Because I really love the texture that a scratchy wool gives something. And here is the lace. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There we go. It's going to be really pretty once I block it. Once it opens up quite a bit. Still don't know if I'm exactly doing it right, but I kind of think I am. So, like I said last time, I'm not ripping it out. I'm not a rip out and redo kind of girl if I don't have to. If it's for someone else, I probably will. But if it's for me, not really, because nobody has time for that. So, and that, I'm knitting that on a Chiaogu size 8, 5.0 millimeter needle. Okay, my next whip is my husband's Christmas socks. I didn't get a lot done on them, but I didn't get a lot done on them, but I got a little bit done. So they're not much difference, and you probably won't really be able to tell because I forgot to move the marker. My bad. I'll move it right now. So, here are Justin's Christmas socks. Now, this isn't any particular pattern. This is just kind of my shenanigan cable vanilla sock pattern. And again, the marker is a Corner of Craft Santee. Let's see if we can get it to not be blown out. That's kind of a feat, I think. Nope, it's not gonna blow. It's not gonna not blow it out. But he's really cute, and I love him. But the yarn on this guy is that heels, toes, and cuffs are this Knit Pick Stroll Merlot Heather color here. which matches these little bitty blips of reddy brown in it perfectly. Knit Picks is great for that. And then the main body of it is Gnome Acres in their House Gnome, which is just their merino nylon blend yarn, in Fruitcake, which, to be honest, kind of reminds me of Coleman colors, so like Coleman camping stuff. Red, green, foresty green, and khaki. Coleman colors, which is probably why my husband likes it, and probably why my father likes it so much too. So, that's those. I probably won't show you guys these again until I work on them, because I've been really busy with other things. I haven't really gotten a chance to really work on them, and unless I work on them again, like I said, I won't show them to you again. And see, I moved Santa, and that is living in my Party of 5 Letters to Santa bag. I don't know if she's still on Etsy or not. I bought this at Christmas last year. But it's just really cute with all of these vintagey colors and Sally's Christmas list and whatnot. So, and it's got a super cute snowflake on the inside. I really like this one just because this is one of my few that actually rolls down like that, so I can use it like a bucket. And the Daydreamer shawl is just in an IKEA basket because I've got these 2 giant skeins of Homespun Girls yarn that I'm alternating with, and it didn't really fit in any of my bags except my sweater size bag, and I kind of need that for something else. My next whip is my socks that I started for me, which is right here. So, these are not on one needle yet. I didn't get a chance to put them both on the same needle. Sue me. Didn't happen. But here is my pair of socks I start. Generally, I always have 2 pairs of socks going, if not more. One for me and one for my husband. Sorry, the cat is distracting me. He's running around like a crazy person. But here they are. This guy is on a pair of Addy Turbos, size 1 US. It's a US size 1 and a... I'm looking in the wrong place for the numbers. It's on the cord on this one. It's a 40-inch size 1 and a 2.5 millimeter, I think. Don't quote me on that. It was really hard to read on these little blue cords. But this blue is Knit Picks Stroll Sapphire is the color. I really liked it because it reminded me of the TARDIS. And I just had it. And I've been thinking about this color combination for a while. And this rainbow, I don't know what it is. It was something I got in a fiber share package last year from Australia. And it was just this little scrappy ball, and I thought it needed to be socks. So socks it is. And this guy is just on a little cheapy pair of size 1 DPNs from Hobby Lobby. Because it's just holding it there until I can swap it back on to the other needle. Because when I do 2 at a time socks, I do my cuffs separately because they can be a little finicky at first. And then when the cuffs are long enough, I swap them back to the cable needle and knit away. These ones are just going to be this beautiful sapphire blue because there's not a heck of a lot of this rainbow. Down to the heel, there's enough for 2 heels, and there's enough for 2 toes, and I'm going to put some stripes in the toe, I think. Thanks, Lacey, for that idea. Lacey, the Knitted Cupcake podcast, on her Instagram, which is the.knitted.cupcake, had a pair of socks that she was making, and she did a blue and a gold color. And the gold colored toe, what she did was she took and put 2 stripes in the toe color. And I really love that idea. So I'm going to steal it and I'm going to do it. Thanks. Great minds think alike. And this guy, this sock project, is living in, if I can get it zipped, my Clever Girl bag, which is Jurassic Park themed bag. I bought it because it says hold on to your butt. Well, the one online said hold on to your butts, and I was hoping mine would have it on here, but it didn't. But that's okay, because it's still got the cool raptors on it. And this is from Katie Beth Creates, and again, she's on Etsy. Show notes. What does it say? Okay, my next whip is for my aunt. My mom called me last week and said, your aunt my aunt has circulation problems because she has diabetes, and she has been having really cold hands. And her sister tried to buy her gloves, and they couldn't get them on her because her hands were swollen. So they called my mom and asked my mom if she would if she could crochet her some mittens. And my mom's like, yeah, no. Because my mom she works full time and she has a lot of things that she has to do. And my mom works in surgery at Barnes Hospital here in St. Louis. She's worked there for almost 40 years, if not 40 years. And my dad's worked there too for, almost 45 years, so a long time. The majority of their lives they've worked in that place. Trust me, they'll tell you all about it. And so my mom called me and asked me to do a pair of mittens, make a pair of mittens like the ones I made her for Christmas, for my aunt whose hands are cold. So my dad decided that last Friday my mom needed to take me to buy the yarn for that. So we went and bought the yarn for that. Well, my dad bought the yarn. Because my dad loves me who buys the yarn. And I got one mitten done. See, one whole mitten. There you go. Except for the thumb. Yeah, I know, that's kind of crucial. I haven't done it yet. I usually leave those to the last. But this pattern is the World's Simplest Mittens by Tin Can Knits. And you can kind of mix and match things to make it work for you or whoever you're knitting them for. My aunt has really thin, really long fingers and thumb that's really long. So, like my dad. So I've been using my dad's hand as kind of like a guide because he's got these little thin wrists and really long fingers and thumbs that I don't have. So this is about the size. I kind of made it a little bit bigger so if her hands are swollen it's not too constricting on them. So there's mitten 1. Hopefully I'll get mitten 2 started this weekend, but let me pull up the tag for you. It's in my knitting journal. So this is the tag. It's just Yarn Bees Soft Secret and the color is Hot Turquoise. Love that name. My mom picked that. I was thinking purple, but she picked this, so what you gonna do? There's that. And then when I'm done, I'm gonna put all my notes on how I customized it in there. And that's what I've gotten on that. And I'm knitting those on a US size 5. It starts on a size 5. I cast it onto a size 7. And then I start knitting with a size 5. Switch it over to a size 5 because I cast on really tight. And I didn't really want a tight cast on for this one. Especially around your wrist. You don't really want too tight of a cast on. And then I switched to US size 7 for the main body of the mittens. And then there's all my little notes for my aunt's mittens. And then this is living in a Fringe Supply Company bag in gray. This is my swag bag. It's really got all of my pins and stuff on it. This one is You So and So, the really great bag maker. That's her pin. And then these are craft badges from Fancy Tiger Crafts, and these guys are a Shelly Can pin. This one I got in Kansas City. It's probably my favorite pin out of all of them, and it says "Let's make shit." But it's pretty funny. And these are all my fun little pins that I had. So, including one of my favorite yarn shops, the Lemonade Shop. And then this is the Homespun Girls, the one I got the yarn for the Daydreamer shawl from. There's that one. And this is a fiber share pin. I'm Felicia, the first kitty to go in space. And of course YarnCon, because I love YarnCon. And I'm going again. We booked our hotel. We're gonna take the train. My mom's going this time because, you know, yarn, you can't miss it. And she loves yarn too. She's a yarny person. And it's April 7th and 8th is YarnCon. It's a free market. They have classes as well. I'm not taking classes because my husband's going, and I feel like it'd be kind of rude for him to have to sit through that. If it was just me and my mom, I'd probably take a class because my mom would be like, whatever. But because he's going, we're not doing that. Didn't do it last year either. Oh well. But it's the weekend of my brother's birthday, and we're going up Friday. We're taking the train Friday evening. We won't get there till about midnight probably, because it's the train, and there are always delays on the train. I don't care who you are. There's always some sort of delay. I don't care if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, but usually it's an hour. And then we're going to go to our hotel, which isn't too far from where the YarnCon is. And then go to YarnCon during the day, and then we'll leave Saturday evening and come home back to St. Louis. So it's about a 5-hour train ride, which isn't that bad. It's about the same to drive it, but it's actually cheaper to ride the train just because gas costs a lot in Illinois. A lot. It's what happens when your state goes bankrupt. Alright, this is my to cast on section of podcast. And the only thing I have that I'm going to cast on hopefully this week is the first of my Christmas sweaters. See, my plan is that this year, 2018, I'm going to knit 3 sweaters for 3 of my nieces and nephews. So Drake, Mallory, and Lincoln, which is my husband's nephew. My husband and I's nephew on his side, I'm going to knit those 3 sweaters this year. And then next year, in 2019, I'm going to knit 3 more sweaters for Moose, Colton, and Embry. So every other year they'll be getting sweaters, but every year they're going to get a pair of tube socks until their feet stop growing. Because, yeah. nobody wants kids to grow out of socks super fast like they do. And you might have just heard this stinker. This is my Oddie cat. This is my odd cat. He is a stray. He came out of the woods at my aunt's house, and he needed to live with me because he's the sweetest little boy ever. And he was just yelling at me because I'm not paying attention to him. Go away, Odd. But anywho, this is the yarn for Lincoln's sweater. It's this really pretty marled, kind of blacky, gray, almost black walnut-y kind of color. It's got a little bit of blue in it. I really like it. And here is the tag for it. It's I love this yarn, stone washed in, oh god, dark gray. Original. I love this yarn. Again, I bought this while I was at Hobby Lobby last week. It only takes 3 skeins of it. Now the reason I'm not doing this in a fancier yarn is strictly because my brother-in-law lives with his mom. And if I make it out of a fancy yarn, like a wool yarn, like I would really like to, she would destroy it. She would just wash it and dry it without any care as to what it is. So, yeah. It's like the baby blanket I made for him before he was born. I gave it to my mother-in-law to give to him. And I haven't ever seen Lincoln with it. Ever. No pictures, nothing. So that's really sad because I worked really hard on that to make that for him. But the pattern I'm using for it is Big Tom by Jenny Wilby. Not quite sure. I'm making a size 6 shears. The pattern's over there. So I'm not going to get it for you. But it's just a general raglan increase with 3 buttons right here. I haven't decided on buttons. I have a couple options here that I got at Hobby Lobby too. This guy. And then there's this guy. I kind of like the silver with that dark gray. But I think I might get him some baseball ones from Etsy that I saw. They're wood. Just because they're really cute. But the metal ones might be better because they might stand up a little bit better to Stacy. So, that is living and something I'm going to talk about in the vintage section. Because I haven't put it in a bag yet. Sorry, you might be hearing the dogs scratching at the door, but it's 60 degrees out today, and yes, it's a little wet out, but they could stay out there for a little bit while I record my podcast, because they were kind of a pain in the butt last week. So, I do have spinning, but I forgot it over there, and I'm not going to get up and go get it. It's nothing really special, it's just a plain, natural, colored roving that I'm trying to do pretty fine. I'm getting better, which is good, which is the object of this exercise. To do it for, one of my goals for the year is to spin for at least an hour once a week so I can get better at it. Because I really want a spinning wheel, but I can't afford a spinning wheel. I can't afford a drop spindle, which I got for Christmas. So I've been using that, my brand new one. I'd be quiet. He's yelling at me again. But the roving is just something I got from Get Your Yarn, which was granted last year. Not last year, but the year before that, 2016. And it's, like I said, nothing really special. Which is why I'm just practicing on it to try and figure out how to do it better. Because I'd rather waste something that I didn't buy than destroy something that I spent $20+ on. So, okay, work knitting. So I started my work knitting for the year this past week, and I've been getting some done, some of it done. My to-do list is absolutely massive. I have until July 1st to get all of my knit stuffed animals and critters, which is what I call them on my Etsy shop, my knit critters, done by July 1st, and that's for spring, summer, fall, and for Christmas, and Halloween and Christmas. So that's a lot, but I can do it. But I have to keep my quota up, and I have to keep meeting my deadlines with these, which so far I am. So these past 2 weeks, last week and this week, I'm doing snail bodies. So these are my snail bodies. They're slugs. Technically, they're slugs because they don't have a shell yet. But this is what they look like. Their eyes aren't done. Their bodies are done and stuffed and sewn together. I'm not going to tell you the yarn I use, nor am I going to show you the pattern or tell you what pattern I use for any of these, because I feel like that would be foolish on my part, because these are my work knitting, these are for my business, and I don't feel like I should share that info. So, there are lots of snail patterns on Etsy. I'm on Etsy and on Ravelry, and I'm pretty sure you can figure out which one I'm using just by looking at it, but I'm not going to outright tell you what it is. Sorry. Or the yarn. So, there's snail body 1, snail body 2. I decided to do like this brownie orange one because he looks sufficiently disgusting for a snail butt. That's what I call these snail butts. So, that's pretty much all I've been doing. I've got this guy too that's kind of different. He's got dark colored eyes, and then his bottom is different from his top because I'm trying to use all of my scraps because I'm a good businesswoman and I don't waste anything. And then I have one more color to do. It's a khaki color, and I've got 6 of these done, 6 total, and I have 1 on the needles, so that's 7, and it's almost done. And then I have the khaki ones to do, and I'll get about 3 out of a skein, give or take 3. So, that's those. My show notes. The next thing I have is my purchases for this week. This episode. And I haven't really bought much. It's mostly work-related knitting, work-related yarn. Let's put it that way. Okay. So these first 4 are all snail shell colors. They're going to be snail shell colors. I try to do a lot of different colors just because not every color suits everyone. And I tried to do a mix of more unisex colors. Some are more boyish, some are more girlish, depending on how you look at it, but not that that matters anymore. They're just a lot of different colors that I like, that I think would look pretty for shells. Okay, so this is the first one. It is I Love This Yarn. Super soft, and the color is City Beat, and it's got all these pretty peach, and it's got a yellow in it, and a gray, and a gray blue, and a pale blue color. So, there you go. That's a good, there you go. You can see it there. But that's a snail shell color waiting to happen. The next one is Color Waves. It's a Lion brand, Color Waves color. There it is. Lots of rainbow. And it is called Rainbow. Odd, what are you doing? Odd. Such a butthead. But that's that color. There's that one. The next one is also a Color Waves color, and it's called Playground. Again, that's by Lion brand. I really like the dark green and the bright yellow green and the orange in there. That's really good. There you go. And number 4 is, again, a Color Waves, and it's called Starboard. And I really love that too. So, those are my 4 snail shell colors. I have a few others that are scraps that are going to be snail shell colors too, so that's not going to be all snail. It's not going to be all my snails are colored with, okay? The next one is this Lion Brand Scarfy. I've been looking for this color everywhere because mint green is my favorite color. Mint green, teal, tealy green. Love that. Love those colors. My best friend tells me you like that gangrene color, don't you? Yeah. My best friend calls my favorite color gangrene color. Really? She was mad because she had to wear it at my wedding. Revenge. But here's the color. It's just called Mint Scarfy. That's the color. And Scarfy is this great ball of yarn that Lion Brand came out with, if you don't know, that you can make an entire scarf with. Not a scarf to the length that I technically like to make. I like scarves really long. That's my thing. Really long scarves. But this, I've been looking for this color everywhere because I'm going to actually make hats with it for the fall. And I have a black and a gray one that I'm going to make hats with for the fall. So it should have like this really cool ombre color on it, which will look really nice for a scarf. Alright. Last section is vintage, because I don't have any crochet. Because I haven't really done any crochet yet. Don't worry, I will eventually, I'm sure. And it has to do with what Lincoln's sweater yarn is sitting in. So it's these enamel ware bowls. So I love enamel ware. My collection of enamel ware really started with my grandmother. After she passed away in the last couple of years. My grandmother died in 2002, by the way. But the last couple of years when I started canning, which my mother thinks I'm crazy for, my mom gave me an enamelware bowl, a giant enamelware bowl. It's big. It's bigger than my head. Because my great-grandmother and my grandmother always used it for canning. And it's white with a red rim. Kind of like this one with the black rim, except its rim is red. And she gave that to me to use for canning. And since then, I have been buying enamelware kind of left and right, wherever I find it, because I really love it, because it has a function. I really like vintage that has a continued use. That makes sense to me, because why are you going to have something that's just going to sit around and collect dust? I have things like that, don't get me wrong, but I really prefer my vintage to have a use other than just to look at. So this white bowl here, it's just a white bowl, no markings on it at all. It's a bit dinged up, but I really love this bowl. These two bowls, I have a few of different colors to use for holding my yarn while I'm knitting. I like yarn bowls, but I prefer a bowl that has an open top. I know you can get yarn bowls that have like this swirly in it so that you can take the yarn out so you can take it with you. But usually what I see is something that's closed and you can't get the yarn out. But I really like these open top kind of enamelware bowls because, one, it's extremely portable, okay? This sits perfectly, both of these sit perfectly in my IKEA basket over here that has the Daydreamer shawl in it. And I take these camping because if they fall and they get a chip in it, oh well. I'm not using it for cooking, so who cares? But typically enamelware is called enamelware because it's a steel under bowl or whatever it is. It's steel underneath, and then over the top is coated with this porcelain enamel, typically used for hospitals, food service, but in the 1800s it came out, in the 1850s, 1860s, it came out as an inexpensive form of cookware for average everyday people, as well as flatware and, well, not flatware, but serving utensils and dining. Instead of having porcelain plates, you can have these guys. They're a lot more durable. and cheaper. And it came in a multitude of colors, including marbled. So there's blue marbled, there's green marbled, there's red marbled, there's everything you can find. But I really like these little bowls, and then like the oval sized ones, and like the really giant sized ones, because I use those for soaking my knitting. Actually, I'll take a picture of that someday. But I got this guy too. It's actually a French blue, and it's got a mark on the bottom. Can't really tell what the company is, but it does have a mark on it. And I like to put like these little paper clips on the outside, because one, I can it's magnetic, and two, I can attach my needles to it, like if I like a sewing needle if I'm using it, or a metal stitch marker to it. And also, because it opens up like that, I can put it on the edge of my bowl like that and thread my yarn through it. Or I can just have it on the side like that and thread the yarn through it to keep it from getting tangled. So that's one of my favorite collections of enamelware. I didn't really do any vintage shopping recently, so until I do, I'll just keep showing you things that I have that I think are really cool. This is one of my most useful, favorite types of vintage that I have, and I have a lot of it, don't get me wrong. So that's pretty much it for today, other than, I guess, a little bit of talk. I'm kind of wary about telling the interwebs too much about myself, but I've been kind of contemplating the idea of going back to school recently. My husband has mentioned this to me too, and it's just been kind of in the back of my mind. I don't know where I'd go to school here in St. Louis. I went to college in southeast Missouri, which is, well, in Cape Girardeau, which is about 2 hours south of St. Louis, and up here it would be a whole new thing for me. I went to community college here, and I went to a private college for a semester up here, and that was it. So I'd be resigned to the city, and there's SLU, WashU, Webster, what else? And a whole host of other colleges. Unfortunately, for what I want to do, community college is not an option. The community college here in St. Louis used to have a really great art program, but it doesn't look like they have it anymore from doing my research, which is unfortunate, because all the teachers that I had when I was at community college that were in the art program were amazing. They were clever and really good at what they do. But that, and my husband and I are hoping to get a new camper in the next couple of weeks. So my husband's birthday weekend is February 1st. I'm really lucky because my husband's birthday and my best friend's birthday are the same day. So February 1st makes my life really easy, because it's both their birthdays. And that weekend is a really big weekend for St. Louis, apparently, because there's a lot going on. So the weekend of the 1st is the RV camper show here in St. Louis. We like to go to it because you can actually walk through a lot of the RVs without being hassled by salesmen, unless you want to be hassled by salesmen. And just kind of get an idea of what you like in campers. And they have a market where you can get nifty gadgets for your camping excursions, which is super fun. And we like going to that too. Also, you get really good deals. You can get a really good deal there for a camper. We're looking at a pull behind trailer kind of camper, and it's going to be I think we know the brand, but it's a Keystone Bullet 2018, and it's small enough for a truck, and it has enough space for everyone, including all 3 dogs. That's the big thing. our little pop-up camper does not fit all 3 dogs anymore. It fit 2 of them, but 3 of them is pushing it. So we're hoping to get that at the end of January. We'll just have to see what happens. And that weekend is also Wizarding World Comic-Con is that weekend, which we really want to go to that too. Funnily enough, it's actually in the same building. So you go down the hall to the one, and then to the camper show. We go buy our camper. This is what my husband said. We go buy our camper, and then we go down the hall and we go to Comic-Con, and we get John Barrowman, who's going to be at St. Louis Comic-Con, to come back down the hall and sign our new camper. That's literally what my husband said. I was dying. It was too funny. Also that weekend is something else my husband really wants to do. Tim Allen is in town. My husband's a big Tool Time fan. And what was that new show called? Last Man Standing or something like that. The new show that got canceled, unfortunately. He really liked that one too. And we're hoping to get tickets to go see him too that weekend. So it's going to be a really, really busy weekend for us. But that's pretty much all that's going on in my life. As far as interesting things go, it's pretty much work knitting, lots of work knitting. I've got lots of things to make in the next couple weeks. Oh, and Lincoln's sweater has to be done by July 1st too. So I've got a lot of work to do. So I'll let you guys go. Have a good week. Have fun knitting. And stay out of the snow, ice, or even if you're in St. Louis and it's 60 degrees today, which is weird because it was 11 the other day. Talk about ironic. But have a good week, guys. Bye.